litigation and will pay for the cost of bringing the litigation, and whoever the parties are that are defending it will pay the cost of defense. I'll use Central Regional as an example. I know in Central Regional the litigation was brought from the Seaside Heights, Seaside Park perspective. They hired an attorney to represent them in the litigation. They paid that person. Central Regional had their attorney defend it. Some of the other districts joined in to assist, so they all paid. Ultimately, as with anything else in the public sector. Will insurance companies come into play in some of this? Will your carrier cover some of that? Maybe, but then that's going to probably have an impact on your premiums down the road, depending on what it is. But I think that's something that you move forward, take a look at, and see whether those kind of decisions are covered. What I will say is this, from the board's perspective, understand that any action you ever take can be challenged. Anybody can file an action challenging any decision you make. The general burden of proof when someone challenges your action is they have to demonstrate that you acted in an arbitrary and capricious manner. What does that mean? That means if you have a rational basis for your decision making, that it may not be something that even the courts agree with, but it's a rational determination with good reason for why you're doing what you do. Generally speaking, your determination is to do that. That doesn't stop people from filing lawsuits. You know, I used an example in a conversation earlier tonight. You, unfortunately, with the economics being what it is, you're placed in a position where you have to non-renew a rich staff. If you non-renew a staff member, let's arguably say it's a performance-based non-renewal, and you go through the Donaldson hearing, and we come before you and you say, no, we're upholding the superintendent's recommendation, we're going to let you go. And they sue the board. It's better, your success rate there is better than either result. It's 99 and 44 100th of the time you win. Very rarely does a non-renew person win. But if your determination to non-renew is based on the fact that this person wore a yellow tie to school every day and you don't like yellow ties, well, that's not a good, that's arbitrary and capricious. So you have problems defending that. But if you have evaluations, if you have support, even in that setting, even where someone has been deemed to be a good teacher but not an excellent teacher, districts have said, we only like excellent teachers here in West Lawrence. Thank you very much. And they won't. So you're given a lot of deference in that regard. Just as, go back here to Board of Review, you're given a lot of deference in Great Meadow Region. At that same time, by the way, there was also litigation that was decided at the Oroville Board that was trying to leave Rivervale region. And the same decision the same day, the Board of Review upheld, not sending it to the voters. And that was a problem. Yes, sir.
Mr. Calvert, is there any legal impediment that would keep this work from placing a referendum in 2021 on the April 27th, 2011 ballot?
I don't know of anything that would be a legal impediment in doing it. Now, I have heard that some county superintendents might look, and it's inconsistent across counties. And if Dr. Serafino was here, maybe she's not. Speak to that. I've heard that some. I've heard that some have require impact studies, but I don't see that anywhere in the law. I don't see that anywhere in the law or the regulations or any of the procedures for the ballot question on. So my sense is if you decided before April 8th and you want to put that ballot question up, you can do it.
If this board voted tonight to table the motion to put the ballot question, the referendum on the ballot, is there any way you can go on the ballot April 27th, 2011?
Do you have another meeting between now and April 8th?
No.
In the absence of another meeting, you wouldn't be able to put it on. I think that there's another part to that question, and I don't know the answer to it. but you guys know the answer to it. Do you have enough information to make that determination? I mean, to be a little flippant, we've been talking about it here for 12 years. All right? I mean, and I don't mean that facetiously, but I mean, it's something that's been talked about. But, have you looked at demographics? Have you done what Westminster plans to? I don't know the answer. Do you know what your enrollment projections are going to look like? Is there a good demographic study? You can get a good sense of what that's going to look like. Is it going to be stable? Are the numbers good in terms of ratables versus pupil count, and how that's going to be left? I don't know. I'm not privy to that. If you've got good information, if you're comfortable with the information, I mean, the only question that and you don't have to answer this. You will answer it eventually. You don't have to answer me. I mean, the question is, given the demographics, given the likelihood of non-success in all constituent districts, is it worth putting it on the ballot or doing an exercise of futility?
Is there any cost associated with it?
Only what would be involved with the regular election.
Yeah, no incremental cost.
Not that I would be aware of. I mean, I don't think the county's going to bill you back for an extra question on the ballot. And they're going to bill you for the cost of the ballot and all that they do. So you're going to get that bill and some more printing on the ballot. And the question is, is there a better way? I don't know. Have you looked at combinations of equalized valuation and pupil count? Is there some number in the middle there that works? It all depends on what you have. Westminster Plainsboro decided, well, we didn't need that. We were okay either way. There were 50-50 splits that were deemed to be fair in that community. So at least it was reasonable enough for the board to agree upon it. If you have enough information, you feel comfortable with it, then there's nothing that can prevent you from doing it. Or if you have another meeting between now and then. Yes?
In the case of the decision, excuse me, can you just keep it a little bit? You can't give us questions.
I'll repeat it.
Thank you so much.
They tell me that.
In the case of the decision,
Great question. That would be, the question is, in 5 communities, 2 school buildings, who gets what, how does that work? The building in which the community in which the building sits gets the building. Now I'm going to assume a complete breakup, 5 separate, and probably would be the way it works. There are cost allocations that will be absorbed for debt service. There will be amounts that will go to the different communities. The remaining assets will be split up proportionally based on, I believe, the cost allocation. Those without buildings wouldn't have buildings. Now, are the buildings paid for? Not completely. There would be a debt service issue that would be allocated. The district that got the building would be absorbing some of that. That would be worked out in the study. However that would play out. If there were a study, if there were a suggested appointment there. If we went to Dr. Serafino and she did a study based on a dissolution or withdrawal, those questions presumably would be answered there. You have that full information. I don't think so. Oh, I'm sorry. The question is, if you have the building, would you have to reimburse other communities? Given the fact that it's paid for, now, given the, I don't want to give a misimpression. I'm not 100% sure. I know that those factors are played out in the study, and there is a. You're going to be lucky?
Well, how did it work in the
I'll tell you what I will.
This is a board meeting at this point.
Give me a minute.
Questions from the board, Mr. Fowler, the public will have their opinions.
Is this thing? See if we have it in here.
while you're looking at that, Mike, would Trent actually allow that right now?
Boy, that's a
Considering
great
that's what
question.
you
You know,
got somebody?
hang on. Okay, look at page 11 of your outline. I'm looking at the Union County regional table. It appears that the assets and liabilities are determined by the county superintendent. And in fact, in Lower Kansas County, the liquid assets only went to those districts that did not receive any building permits. So there may be a need to reimburse some, but that's between the current happening in the study. But the buildings have value, and when you break the district up into the relative shares based on the cost allocation, based on the equalized valuation of the community, there are going to be some shares that have to be distributed. So in those particular cases, the liquid assets won't be disposed. So yes, there may be. Yes.
I have a question about the reference that you've been out here several times in the last 12 years. You clearly have a base of constituents who feel that the funding formula is unfair and they have high frustration levels. I feel that that will continue going forward if we don't find some sort of amicable resolution. And my largest concern, in your opinion, what is the educational impact on our students while this is going on? Because in my recollection,